allocation is not for tourism infrastructure, as that is the mandate of the Tourism Infrastructure Enterprise Zone Authority. And therefore, we have partnered with TIEZA in order that we may be able to invest in our destinations, as can be clearly gleaned from the tourist stress areas, the Tourism Champions Challenge, as well as the various tourism infrastructure that have arisen since the onset of the Marcos administration. That being said, the capital outlay that has been allowed by the Department of Budget and Management under the auspices of the DOT's budget is limited to investments in its ISSP and nothing else. This ceiling constrains us to work within the confines of what has been provided to us and the purpose for which these funds have been allocated. USEC SAI will be able to provide further detail as far as the specifics on the MOOE utilization.
With the permission of the chair, aside from the capital outlay, we were only provided for the ISSP 156.78 million. So, in 2024, we were provided budget for infra for the boardwalk and Rizal Park for Region 8. That's the only capital outlay.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Thank you, USEC. Madam Chair, let me now proceed to issues surrounding personnel and plantilla issues within the Department of Tourism. As of 2025, the DOT reported that 32.8% of plantilla positions are unfilled. Again, that's more than 30%, more than a third of the plantilla positions are unfilled. Within this, 28.5% of the positions are in the Office of the Secretary remain vacant, and at the National Development Parks Committee, almost 48% of positions are unfilled. So how can the department function effectively when 1/3 of its workforce is still missing? And to be very blunt about it, why are we requesting more funds for programs when you cannot even fill the staff required to implement these programs?
Madam Chair, we deeply appreciate the concern for ensuring that government positions are filled. Priorities must also focus not just on filling positions, but in promoting personnel, especially job order personnel who have served for very many years and are now able to enjoy security of tenure by way of the permanence of their position. With that, as of August 27, 2025, a total of 577 plantilla positions have been filled, representing 73% of the authorized 791 plantilla positions. From 2022 to 2024, there has been a substantial increase in the number of appointments issued. In fact, a growth of approximately 337%. From 58 appointments only in 2022 to 95 in 2023, rising to 196 in 2024. For 2025, a total of 135 appointments have already been issued. This steady increase in appointments is attributed to the Department of Tourism's thrust to regularize existing JO personnel while simultaneously promoting career growth among permanent personnel.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Again, I'd like to amplify my concern about this unfilled position. While we appreciate the efforts of the department to provide permanent employment for those who are JO or contract of service, Perhaps as a last question, going back to the earlier point about the Love Philippines, Love the Philippines campaign, nabanggit po natin kanina na hindi binayaran yung ad agency, pero at the same time, mukhang kailangan din po na accountability within the department. So the question is, sino po sa love of the department yung na-held accountable for that particular blunder doon po sa ating major tourism campaign?
Madam Chair, a full investigation was conducted subsequent to the incident, and the results of the investigation would yield that the contracted ad agency had made misrepresentations as far as the quality and origins of the contents of the video in question. And this then resulted to the immediate termination of their contract with the department, with zero government funds having been paid. Personnel that were connected with the facilitation of the transaction, all of them are no longer with the Department of Tourism.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for the swift action on that particular issue. I think I still have more time, so perhaps I'll just like to share some of the concerns raised by our colleagues in the local level. So ito naman po yung tungkol sa pakiramdam ng mga nasa regions that they are a bit neglected. So in 2024, the DOT Central Office consumed 2.2 billion of the 73.7 or 73.7% of the total budget. NCR received 370, bringing Central plus NCR to 86.2%. So, alam niyo naman po yung figures. Na sinasabi po dito na some regional offices receive less than 20 million each, in some cases below 1% of the total budget. So, for the last question, why is the bulk of funding concentrated in the central office, while the regions, the heart of the Philippine tourism, are left with very little allocation? Thank you, Madam Chair.
I must confess, Madam Chair, that this is the very first time that I'm hearing that our regions are feeling neglected, because the effort has always been to be inclusive. In fact, in less than 3 years of my tenure as Secretary of Tourism, I have already managed to visit all the regions of the Philippines, including BARM, and also provide concrete programs to various destinations, provinces, cities, and municipalities. That being said, I can confirm that there is not a single region of the Department of Tourism that has been allocated with less than 20 million pesos. And considering the ceilings that are also provided for the regions, what we have made the effort to do is to provide assistance from central office by providing downloads to the regions for the execution of flagship programs upon their jurisdictions with the assistance of central office. We are ready to provide a breakdown of the regional distribution of expenditures, as well as the downloads that have been made to the regions that would prove that the effort of the Department of Tourism has been to ensure equitable tourism development across the country.
Daghang salamat, Madam Secretary, and we would expect the report forthwith. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minority Leader Percy Sundanya. I now recognize my fellow Vice Chair, Representative Rufus Rodriguez. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me congratulate the Department of Tourism and the attached agencies, especially our outstanding secretary. And when I say outstanding, it is with a superlative tone. With a meager budget, which we have been giving to the Department of Tourism, still, we have 3.8 trillion in terms of a contribution, 8-9% to GDP on internal tourism expenditures. We therefore have a lot of domestic trips and expenditures amounting to trillions. We have also an increase in international arrivals. We did not reach that because there were so many factors explained. But what the Secretary forgot was this crazy advisory of the United States government. Imagine that it's a dangerous place to come in the Philippines. Where did they get these ideas? And that is why I complained to Secretary, Ambassador Romualdez, and he talked to the State Department, and they said that it comes from the local embassy of the United States. And I wrote Carlson, he did not answer. And so these are the things that would also, impair the coming of our guest. But anyway, Madam Chair, still it's a very big increase. And so therefore, I congratulate Secretary Frasco. Now, I have two concerns. And we would like to, at this point, acknowledge our regional director of Region 10, May Unchuan. Where's May? Yeah. Kasi, to tell Congressman Percy, there's a lot of downloading of funds in the Region 10. Secretary was there for the resort to go to the different provinces of Northern Mindanao. And we have also, just to inform, because of the budget of the Secretary, you see, I have written a book of Cagayan de Oro. And this is 30 years in the making. For our young congressmen, let us start writing your history. Because once you write your history, we're able to come out with a historical trail. We have a congressional office. Hindi lang dito sa Congress, may congressional committee. My second district office is a congressional committee. Here, Congressional Historical Committee. And thank you, Secretary. We have reprinted this to your budget. It's given to all the hotel rooms, no less than 1,500 hotel rooms. And I put the, please do not take out from the room, nothing is left in the hotels. But anyway, that's good that they take out. And so, Madam Chairman, I would like to therefore ask the two things that we would need. First, can you explain to us why are we giving up on tourism, that there's no more tourism infrastructure, road infrastructure program?
Madam Chair, in all honesty, that question can best be answered by the DPWH, which has jurisdiction over the funding for tourism roads. That being said, it has been an advocacy on the part of the Department of Tourism since 2022 to invest in tourism roads, which is why every year we receive proposals and we promptly endorse to DPWH for funding for continuing tourism roads and new tourism roads. As a matter of fact, in 2024, through our advocacy, we managed to ensure that 5 billion in funding for new tourism roads was lodged in the GAA of the DPWH. Unfortunately, while we had proposed yet again in 2025, the budget was zeroed. While there was funding for continuing roads, surely this is not enough to open up new destinations. In 2020, for the 2026 GAA, we also proposed, again, funding for tourism roads to DPWH at the amount of around 6.2 billion pesos, if I'm not mistaken. Zero funding was provided for new roads. And even the funding for continuing roads was reduced to a shell of what it was, and it now stands at only 3 billion. So we view this of grave concern, considering that this will stagnate the development of our destinations and unnecessarily quell opportunities for our emerging destinations to be discovered, highlighted, and promoted.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Secretary. Clearly, there is a need to restore the budget that have been given to the Department of Tourism on the trips. In other words, how can we continue to be able to develop our tourist sites in the different parts of the Philippines, not only in Luzon or Metro Manila? We're talking of bringing out all of this development in the region, especially in Mindanao. So in the proper time, Madam Chair, I would be asking that this committee be able to recommend to the plenary the restoration of at least 6 billion for the roads leading to tourist destinations. Second, the branding has been reduced so much. How can we be able to project abroad our brand of being, our country so blessed? I have been to many places, but the Philippines, with our beaches, with our mountains and hills, and our good people and kind people, this is a natural destination all over the world. And that is why